Hello everyone, and welcome back to my playthrough of Dark Souls. We are finally back. It's been a few months. I'm not actually sure how long it's been. Maybe like 4 months, 5 months, something like that. I've been incredibly busy this end of the year, but I'm fully ready to take this on and continue on from where we left off. In the last episode, I just had a little watch of it, just as a recap. We explored a little bit of the depths. We got to see the depravity that is the lower end of Berg, and we're venturing even further below now. Sorry about the noise. We're venturing even further below, where we're gonna see even more things of disturbance. Let's begin. So as you probably recall, we are in a sewer system that seems very unkempt. Lots of rats, lots of... I can only imagine the smell of this place. One interesting behavior with the rat enemies in the game is their tendency to run away until they're backed in a corner. Once they're backed up into a corner, they fight back. And so it sort of gives them an intelligence, unlike other creatures. And indeed, I doubt that they're undead or, cursed in that sense, similar to humans or anything. They're just vermin. They're animals. They're somewhat pure in that sense, uncorrupted. Here we have the tunnel system. So, it's a sewer level, and one aspect of sewers is claustrophobia. These next few areas are definitely of the more claustrophobic side of things. But we're gonna venture into it and hopefully make it out safely. Oh. So much for the claustrophobia. We see a definite increase in size. But they're no match to my knights. Interesting, this channeler from the church. There's another one here as well. Which doesn't really make much sense to the player in its current state, but maybe keep it in your mind later. There is some story associated with that. I see lots of lying in ambush. You definitely have to keep your shield up in this area. You never know. Also, you're rewarded for checking every corner. But obviously, it's not my first time playing this, but all the same. Interesting thing, notice we picked up humanity off of the rats just a while ago. I didn't comment about it, but yeah, apparently they drop humanity. I don't think they're human, that they have the humanity with them. I think it's more just to show that they consume dead bodies, right? So a dead person would be here, they would eat it, and through that they would consume the humanity, which is an interesting concept. And they're one of the few enemies that actually drop humanity, and they're a really good source of that. Here we're back on those claustrophobic tunnels. Very easy to get lost if it's your first time through this area. Here we see a increase in size, definitely more intimidating. You would say a mini boss, actually. It really is quite scary. I'm debating whether or not I have the capacity to to kill it. We're gonna do it anyway. It seems like his side is his blind spot. But you gotta be careful, because this thing can really eat through your shield. We got it in its blind spot, and it's down. So, what I really enjoy about the Souls games, and specifically Dark Souls 1, is the tacticalness of it. You know, positioning is more important than reflexes. You have to know how to position yourself, and that will get you further than reflexes and skill, and in quotation, skill. Ever since I was a kid, I was always curious what these masses meant to represent. I mean, I always assumed it was the enemies, the ones that grab you and jump on top of you, and you've seen it, they're on the ceilings, those sludges, slimes. I believe these are supposed to represent that, maybe early stages of it, but a really fascinating thing is when you hit it, what happens. Some fluid comes out of it, and it actually is blood, but I changed it to green. But yeah, it would be blood, so interesting. Not really sure what that is all about. Here we took a little slide down into this disgusting waterfall. And we have a look at perhaps one of the most infamous enemies in Dark Souls. These are called the basilisks. Really fascinating things. And really ugly too. I'm not really sure what they're meant to represent. They look like salamanders maybe to me. They're definitely lizards. But I'm not sure. They have these really big eyes. Which... Do I have the binoculars by chance? I do. Wonderful. Yeah, these... I'll try and get a better view of them. Depending on which one we kill. Yeah, the way they run always creeps me out. Very lizard-like. They spew out this fog, this smoke. These clouds of whatever it is. And it's really dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Yeah, I think this is a good view. So, their anatomy, obviously they're very lizard-like, reptilian. They have these big eyes, but underneath they actually have their real eyes. I hope I can get a better view of that. Since his face is smothered in his chest. I hope you can see that little dot right above his, what would that even be? His lungs? His mouth? There's a tiny yellow dot. And those are his actual real eyes. But you have the large ones up here. It's debatable why they exist. The going theory is that it's used for intimidation, to intimidate its prey. I sort of believe that. They also drop an item called Eyes of Death, which look very similar to those eyes. And Eyes of Death are the domain of Nito, which is one of the four lords. So, I mean, what connection does that have with them? I'm not sure. But I like the theory of intimidation. It seems very natural, very, natural selection could do that sort of thing. And it also shows the attention to detail that the developers have for their enemy design. You know, most games, they wouldn't bother doing that kind of stuff. Especially in a fantasy setting, I mean, you can get away with things that are defying laws of nature and things. And no, I don't believe that that they have 4 working eyes. I think those 2 on the top are just like growths or like tumors almost, in a medical sense. Here we have one of the first rings that we acquire in the game, Ring of the Evil Eye, which has a really interesting story to it. Let me read it. Ring of the Evil Eye. According to legend, this ring contains the spirit of the Evil Eye, a dark beast which assaulted Astora. The strength of the Evil Eye does not waver, and HP is absorbed from fallen enemies. Basically, Astora is the land of which many characters in the game come from. Even the rescuer from the asylum at the start of the game, he is from Astora as well. And this ring speaks of the tale of the Dark Beast, which we never get to see. We never see anything of it. Nobody even talks about it, but you know, it's just this rich lore that each of the worlds have, each of the regions have in the world. Sorry. And it gives more, you know, substance to and believability to the regions, and I really like that. I like that story. That item description is one of the better ones. Yeah, these boxes I do not trust. Interesting. Here we have a show of something we don't really see too often, especially offline. An invasion by Dark Spirit Kirk. And you can see his armor looks really impressive and intimidating. But he's really not too difficult. Maybe for newcomers. I mean, he has a lot of health and very high resistance, or just physical. But he doesn't really do too much damage. And so I'm not too worried about him. And he goes down. Knight Kirk. Give us his spiked shield. Let's read it. Shield of the infamous Dark Wraith Kirk, Knight of Thorns, covered with spikes. Can be used as a weapon. Sharp spikes cause heavy bleeding. Yeah, it doesn't tell us any more than we already know. Also, I apologize if I sound a little different, or if I speak with a somewhat of a lisp. I have an infection in my tongue and it makes it harder to talk. But I really wanted to record this gameplay because I've been looking forward to it for months now. Notice we got a shortcut back. We took the long way around. And we're back here. That's where the rat used to be. Up here is where the bonfire. I see that looping of the whole area. It's wonderful. And many areas in Dark Souls have this quality to them. It really makes exploring the world so wonderful and just an absolute joy. We have more of these sludge, which I don't want to bother with. I believe, yeah, they're also on the ceiling as well. Here we see more of that running away behavior of the rats. But eventually, when they're cornered, they try to fight back, but it's a bit too late. I'll save this area for later. There's something I want to see here.
Aye, Shemai, and good day to you. I'm Donald of Xena. I'm just, well, a peddler of sorts. I adore trinkets and oddities, so I trade for them.
Very odd looking guy. But he sells stuff at an exorbitant price, especially his armor. We can read it. A strange helm from the ancient land of Xena, birthplace of the curious dealer Dumhall. The two horns are believed to symbolize wisdom. Sure. Strange armor from the ancient land of Xena. The many metals are believed to symbolize glory. Birthplace of the curious dealer, don't know. The gold bracelets symbolize a vanquisher. The inlaid silver rings symbolize an explorer. So, this is something I really enjoy. The flavor text for the armor is clearly written by himself. And he has a very narcissistic view on life. He thinks he's the best, the wisest, the strongest, the most glorious, and the most adventurous. He sells gold pine resin, which in and of itself is actually a pretty good thing. I'm gonna buy them, actually.
Well, I'm certain we will make a good trade eventually, so I am willing to share some tips. If you see kindling in the catacombs, use divine weapons. That will repel the reassembling skeletons. I'm afraid I don't see anything here.
Yeah, so as you heard, he gave a tip for going into the catacombs, which will go well later in the playthrough. It is a area filled with skeletons that reassemble themselves. They basically respawn indefinitely, and he offers the tip of using divine weapons to stop this blessing or curse, whatever you want to call it, with the reassembling skeletons. And it's interesting, this character gives a lot more tips. He gives tips on various things in the game. At a price, though. You do have to buy stuff from him to get those tips. And I can't really afford 50,000 souls, roughly, to hear all of his tips, so I'm just gonna leave him for now.
Well, that is a shame, but no matter. No, not to worry. Come back again. I'm always available. Not every trade was meant to be. There'll be more in store for us, someday, sometime.
Very odd individual. Here you have a very intimidating looking door, but thankfully it's locked. For now, at least. Here we go back into this open area. I mean, if a zone ever looked like a boss fight, this would be it. And with that door there as well. Also, interestingly enough, if I hadn't killed the wizard, sorcerer, channeler guy, he would be shooting at me right now. Which would be quite annoying, but yeah. I do enjoy the verticality of this level. But soon you're gonna see a lot more verticalness in the next level. We got a heavy crossbow. Powerful large crossbow. While bows require both hands, a crossbow is held in one. Oh, there's no flavor text, it's just instructions. That's kind of unfortunate. I suppose we could try it, why not? Ah, I don't have the strength. But surely I could two-hand it, no? Yeah, that's fine. Alright, let's equip some bolts. And we'll try it out. Alright. Oh, I just love that cutscene. It starts off so tiny, you know, it gives you a false sense of perspective. Look how massive this thing is. I'm gonna try using the crossbow here. Yeah, it does practically 0 damage. Yeah, I'd prefer not to use it. Notice its shape though. It's very, I mean, the comment has been brought up quite a few times. The shape of it is very suggestive in nature. I don't know, I'm not really sure why, to be honest. There is a... Oh, okay, I just don't want it to drop on me. But there is a topic, or a certain genre of art that this reminds me of. It's called, I forget the term exactly, but it's something along the lines of vaginal dentatum. Like dental, you know, teeth. And this comment has been brought up with some people in the Souls community. They see the similarity of this thing, and I definitely see it. With all the teeth and all that. I wonder if it's intentional. I believe it is, but I wonder why it is. Like, what the significance of that is with this thing. Obviously, you can come up with your own theories. I can't really think of a solid theory, but I mean, I can sort of make a connection. The Gaping Dragon is what it's called, obviously for its big gap, is actually a descendant of the ancient dragons. It's not an ancient dragon in and of itself. It's not immortal. It doesn't have the... It has some scales, but it's of lesser quality, I guess you could say. They're not as the pure ancient dragon ones. It's a offspring of the ancient dragons. And it's been corrupted by the filth of the sewers. It's been feeding off of the sewage. Which I don't think that's relevant in my reading of this. That cell swipe is lethal. It's doing it again. Yeah, I don't think the sewage aspect is relevant. But being the offspring of dragons, I mean, perhaps that's something. You know, offspring, mother, and organs, you know, sexual organs. There's somewhat of a connection there, but it's weak at best. So yeah, I don't really have that good of theories. What I can tell you about though is that it's a dragon, and dragons are weak to lightning, as shown in the cutscene where Gwyn slayed the dragons. So I'm going to be applying this gold pine resin, lightning, and we'll just see the damage. See, nearly double the damage. This boss has a lot of health points, a lot more than most bosses in this this portion of the game. And so it really lends itself for cooperative play. Because the problem with co-op in this game is that most of the bosses, especially in new game, you know, in the original game state, they don't really have that much health, and they definitely can't. Oh, there, I picked up an armor set. They definitely can't survive for long when it's 2 players, you know, 2 against 1. And so this boss offers that satisfying victory when you can play it with another person and you do it together. And so I like that about this boss. It's not too difficult, but it definitely can catch you if you're not careful. We were offered an abundance of souls, 25,000, for this fight. We picked up an armor set, and we picked up the Blighttown key. So let's read it. There is no flavor text for these. It's a standard set for the warrior. As for the key, key to Blighttown from the depths of the undead burg, swallowed by the gaping dragon. As its name suggests, Blighttown is a place of great pestilence. Even the polluted inhabitants of the depths are aware of its dangers, and built this mighty door in hopes that they could remain safely separated. So, if you thought the undead burg was bad, you have the sewers. If you thought the sewers is bad, you have Blighttown. and I just love the text of that key. It's such good foreshadowing, and it's like it's warning you of the dangers of Blighttown, but you know, and the cruel irony of a video game is that you're eventually gonna have to go there and experience it for yourself. So we're gonna go ahead and do that.
Aye, shall I? I adore trinkets and oddities.
Alright. Do I want to buy something from him?
Well, that is a shame, but no, come, not well.
I just want to see if I have a bow that I could maybe use. No, I don't. I'm just debating whether or not I want to go into Blighttown. We're definitely gonna have to stack up on, you know, anti-poison. See, this one reduces poison, this one reduces toxin. I'm not sure if I read these earlier, but yeah. I suppose I can put that ring on. It's not too bad. Alright. Let's do Blighttown. I doubt we're gonna finish Blighttown in this episode, but we're gonna give it an honest try. Oh, just notice that color change. That whole filtering. You know, you really know you're in a bad place when the filter turns all green. Some might call it a cheap effect, but I think it's a little exaggeratory, but in a good way. So we're descending even further down, and we have a look at our first enemy. You can see the body horror in this one, and it has a lot of health. It will not go down easily. There we go. Obviously I played this game for, some might say, too much time, that I kind of know their moveset. He dropped Dung Pie, which always looked like brain matter to me, but it's not. It's poop. Atrocious fecal waste material. Throw at enemy to build up toxins, but also builds up your own toxicity. Although the stench makes it difficult to carry on one's person, turning an enemy toxic inflicts high damage over a period of time. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be holding on to that. That is nasty. And here we are in Blighttown proper. But more accurately, we're in Upper Blighttown, which goes to show that this is going to be a long one. And if this is Upper, you can just imagine what Lower Blighttown looks like. Yeah, notice that, I wouldn't even call it an attack, just that move that it does where it starts screaming. I'm unsure what it does, and I think a lot of the community as well don't really know what it does. It doesn't attract other enemies to fight, it doesn't interact with any other enemies. But it's just an odd behavior, and sometimes it can do it many, many times. I guess it's just upset. It's trying to warn you to back off from its swamp. Kind of reminds me of Shrek, this thing. Very ugly. I forget their name. Like their official name. I think it's Infested Barbarian or something like that. Which is a very apt name. Slowly but surely, we're gonna take it down. And it goes down. Alright. Yeah, these enemies are everything is on the tougher side. It's a big step up from the depths. And I've always been creeped out by these things. They're the equivalent, broken straight sword. They're the equivalent of the, you know, the normal hollows that you see, like in the Asylum and the start of the Undead, but these are the stronger ones. And here you have the most annoying enemy in the game, which is the one blowing those darts at us. He's incredibly dangerous. Yeah, the darts in and of itself. So you'd be best to avoid that. This is a little claustrophobic. Especially getting swarmed in a game like this, it's a bad thing. Yeah, see, he's blowing the darts at me. I'm gonna have to jump down. Nope. Maybe I jumped a little too down, but yeah. Oh well. I think I double pressed roll by accident. It happens. A lot of people, they humorously say that the hardest enemy in Dark Souls is actually the geometry and the gravity. I don't blame anyone but myself in that last death. It's entirely my fault. But yeah, poor footing can really cause your own demise in this game. I'm just gonna rush back there. I was actually considering when I started this series that should I die, like, would I edit it out? Would I cut off the part of me backtracking and coming back? Ideally, I think I should, you know, just to make it more enjoyable as an experience to watch. But I believe if I can cover the content, you know, the blank space, with adequate commentary, I think it's enough, you know. Unless people are watching, you know, specifically for the game and not for me. Which, fair enough. But you wouldn't be watching my playthrough if you didn't care about my commentary about it. You just watch a silent playthrough. Because I doubt people pay attention to things like playstyle and things of that nature when they're watching a playthrough. They're mainly just watching the story or wanting to watch that specific person play the game. So in that sense, I don't really mind this. And now I would mind it if I died a second time and lose my 35,000 souls. That would be really depressing. But I'll do my best. I'll do my best to avoid that. Another thing I need to avoid is the status elements, the poisons in this area. Thankfully, when you're backstabbing, nothing can hurt you. So you can avoid these arrows, these darts, I should say. No, people hate it. They say it's too punishing. There, I got my souls back. They say it's too punishing, the poisons. Especially from them. I mean, it will, you know, delete my whole health bar in around 10 seconds. But I think it adds more character to this place. It gives it more of an identity, you know, something you can associate with this area. And even though it might be a little... I do agree it might be a little too harsh for new players, it gives this area its reputation. And I think for that, it deserves that distinction. And I call it a distinction because it's one of the only areas where you're going to be affected by toxin. Not the only. There is another place, but it's a very one case, single case. I'm doing a decent amount of damage. Usually I'm not this powerful at this point in the game. But for the sake of the walkthrough, I don't want to be chipping away at enemies for minutes. But as long as I'm not one-shotting enemies in an unrealistic way, it's okay. I mean, 3 to 4 hits, I think that's reasonable per enemy. Notice the flimsy supports of this area. It's about as close to falling apart as you can get. Yeah, we can use the verticality of this area to our advantage to get some good damage going. Here we have the weirdest enemy in the game. The guy chilling inside of a vase. I'm actually gonna leave him. I think he's too chill for me to hurt him. Here we have the bonfire, which is both a blessing and a curse, because resting here means you're stuck in Blighttown. I'm gonna stay hollow for now. Alright, let's level up. I think I want to level up strength. At least to 14. Maybe 16 actually. And dexterity... at least 12, I think. I'll go 14. Oh, that's perfect. Alright. Attune magic, I don't have anything else. Alright, we'll continue our descent into Blighttown. I'll try and pick up the loose items in this area. And if getting lost in the sewers is bad enough, here you can almost get stuck. Thankfully I have my force, which really helps in these unfair fights, I would say. You know, anything that's not one-on-one. We picked up more of the antitoxin, which is wonderful. And here we have possibly one of the worst areas in platforming. But I'm glad I got through that. These dogs are very odd. The fact they blow fire like dragons. But they go down. Humanity. Oh, good to know that there's still humanity in this world. But yeah, it's not as green as you probably expected this place to be. I think the torchlights definitely help ease that green filter. God, I hate this. Yeah, never again. But yeah. It looks more akin to like Lower Hundredberg maybe, if it was pitch black. Interestingly enough, it isn't actually dark, you know, it's bright outside, and you look up, you get this sense of hope, even though you're in this dark place. I imagine a lot of places in real life were, you know, similarly filthy in, you know, the medieval times. I doubt hygiene was a major factor. There we go. I actually pushed one of the dogs down with force. That was quite interesting. Yeah, 3 slashes with my heaviest attack. Not bad. Yeah, there's a drop from here. It gets you access to this. Not bad. We have a ladder up here, which gives you a few items. We have the shadow set, which I'll read. Black cloth mask worn by spooks from an eastern land, designed so as not to hinder their unique form of martial arts. While it sacrifices defense for the sake of greater mobility, it does offer resistance to bleeding and poison, among other things, perhaps due to the nature of espionage. Interesting. Spooks is a English colloquialism for spies. And so they are spies or assassins, maybe. And they work with poison, obviously, classic. They do martial arts, so they're definitely from the east. You know, Eastern Asia. Interesting set. Not really the style, my style. I'm more of a European knights kind of guy. But I imagine a lot of people enjoy that set, especially with the katana that can be found in this area. The Iato, I don't know what it's called. I passed by it, I didn't pick it up. It's quite risky to pick up. And I mean, I'm not planning to use it, so I didn't pick it up. Maybe I should have, but I didn't want to risk dying again. Alright. Yeah, Force is not really a bad spell. I like it. To be honest, I haven't used it as often as I'm using it now. It's probably a rarity, and I'm using it because it's novel. But it does actually help you from sticky situations. It gives you a breather. We still have a good 20 minutes or so. Enough to get to the bottom of Blighttown, I think. But nothing more. Alright. I'll take the ladder first. Yeah, something I wanted to comment about. This area is quite dark, obviously. But the developers aren't complete sadists. You have these torches that are placed on every single ladder. And so, you know, it's not gonna definitely get you out of Blighttown, but following the lights are definitely a good source of, a good guide. But you do have to keep track of where you're going and where you've been. As ultimately that's the adventurer's mindset that will get you out. Before I take this ladder, there's something I wanted to point out, but my mind was elsewhere. Sorry. We have it. I believe you can get a good view of it from... I gotta go down. Sorry about this. But I think it's an iconic site in Blighttown. It's this thing. I think here's a good vantage point. Yeah. What this creature isn't really known, and this is the only appearance of the creature in this area. I believe there's a Red Phantom equivalent of it with the Gravelord's Covenant, but I'm not sure if that's cut content or not. But yeah, this thing is really creepy. It has what seems to be a centipede, I want to say. It's probably the thing that eats. I think it eats through that orifice. Oh, we have these mosquitoes, or whatever they are. Yeah, it has this really big sack on the behind. Kind of reminds me of spiders, like black widows and things. It's really awful to look at. Very, very awful. And it's theorized that it's feeding off of the, the runoff from the sewers, all the filth and things, because there is a slope that goes into where it's hugging. It's called a wall hugger. Very similar to a face hugger from the Alien franchise. But yeah, very nasty thing. And I'm gonna have the honors of killing it. So you can access it from the other side from here. So this is the runoff thing. It's debatable whether or not the runoff is still in operation, as it seems these structures are not moving. But yeah, this is the underside of it. Very nasty thing. And it takes quite a lot of hits. As you would imagine, this thing of size. I think it's almost done. Got some poison for it. Interesting. Anti-poison, I mean. Alright. Go into the caves now. Just gonna push that guy off to the side. Oh. This is not ideal. Yeah, I'm just giving myself some room. But we're fine. I'm gonna stop the poison and heal up. Alright. Our Estus is running slightly low, but we're doing okay. Here we pick up a very unusual weapon, a whip. Leather whip, not intended for battle. Virtually ineffective against armor and tough scales, but quite formidable against enemies with exposed skin. I've never used that weapon in a serious manner, but I would be lying if I said I haven't used it entirely. Yeah, I'm gonna be quiet on that. These enemies are odd, to say the least. And we've officially reached Lower Blighttown. You can only imagine how hard it's gonna be to get back to Firelink. Going through the sewers, Lower Underberg, and all of Blighttown. We picked up the Wanderer set, very nice looking. Let's read it real quick. This one. Hood of an aimless traveler, made from sturdy leather. It offers protection versus wind and rain. Battle comes with the territory when one wanders the land, and this coat provides a certain degree of protection. Yeah. So basically an adventure set. But I prefer the knights, obviously. But I might swap out some things for it, maybe. And that looks okay. It's less defense, but it's lighter. But I don't think that really matters, to be honest. I think I'll stick with the knight then. It doesn't change my weight category. What happens when you blow these things away? Interesting. I'll be honest, I never tried that. So many of them. Here we reach the swamp. One of the nastiest areas in the game. Maybe I shouldn't be too harsh on it. But yeah, this area really impedes your mobility. You walk really slow. interesting thing about the swamp is that it's not actually all too big. It might look vast. It might actually be. But it's really not that bad. At least you don't have to worry about falling to your death. But an interesting thing about this place is you have two things of interest on either end. So you have whatever that hill is, and on the other side you have this big tree. So you have like two landmarks on opposite ends, which is quite cool, I think. And these mosquitoes are quite a nuisance. There's no way I can deal with them. Don't have any ranged weapons, which is probably an oversight on my end. There is a bonfire here, though. So yeah. When speaking of blessings and curses, this is definitely more of a curse bonfire, as I am officially at the bottom of Blighttown. You know, hundreds and hundreds of meters away from Firelink. Far from home. Here we have a single ominous looking chest, which drops a dragon scale. I'm not actually sure I read any of them. Oh, I never did, yeah. Dragon scale for reinforcing dragon weapons, peeled from an ancient dragon. A dragon is inseparable from its scales, and the transcended apostles, who seek the perpetuity of the ancient dragons, have crossed the very end of the earth to seek this valuable treasure. Basically, the immortality that the dragons in this world have, the ancient dragons I should say, isn't from them themselves, it's from their scales. And you are able to peel the scales off of them, and in doing so you basically expose them to life, and you expose them to death as well. And so that's how you kill them. And that's exactly how the lords did it in the war. They peeled off the scales using Gwyn's firebolts, and then Nito unleashed a miasma of death and disease. And the Witch of Islip burned down their homes, which were great trees, huge trees. We're being invaded by another spirit, Man-Eater Mildred. Oh, here she comes. She's a man-eater. But I'll just push her to the floor. Maybe the force isn't as far range as I'd like it to be. I really don't want to die in this. Yeah, this is a fight, definitely. Very interesting choice of clothing for her, I'd say. Yeah, because she doesn't have any real armor, she gets thrown around. And there she's killed. She drops the butcher knife, which is actually the knife used by the butchers in the lower Underberg. And she's actually one of them, but a less grotesque version of them. Giant butcher knife, wielded by the undead, man-eating cook lurking in the depths. More a tool for subduing and preparing live catches than an actual weapon. Those who have faced this deadly blade have a deeper sense of how helpless prey must feel. I think I mentioned it in the previous episode, but those butchers are female, and she is one of them. There's various dialogue that indicate that. Even the developer, director of the game, mentions that they're female. And I mean, they look really buff for a female, and you know that's the oddness of it. That's why people find it surprising when it's brought up. We're nearing the end of our session, and I think we're just gonna stop it at that mound. Hopefully I can make it there. Yeah, I'm avoiding most of these enemies because, for the sake of time, and for the sake of tedium. We've arrived at Quilag's domain, which is a cave entrance of sorts, with lots of eggs. Spider eggs, I would say. And here we have a most interesting area. Very odd. But yes, I think I'm gonna end today's episode with a cutscene, which I think you will enjoy very much. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we'll be continuing off with the boss fight, slaying Queelag as we're in her domain. But that'll be in the next episode. And we're also going to try and make our way out of this Blighttown all the way back to Firelink once we're done. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. This has been really enjoyable, and I'm so glad to be able to get back into it. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Enjoy.